She was born Mabinti Bangura. This is a fairy tale she dreamt up in an orphanage in Sierra Leone. A dream she's worked her toes off to realize.
I think ballet pretty much saved me.
Saved from one of Africa's most brutal civil wars to fight for a place at the top in America. This week on African Voices, ballet dancer Michaela de Prince. 17-year-old Michaela de Prince is just a few hours away from a critical milestone. She's in Johannesburg, South Africa, to perform in her very first professional ballet, a goal she's been chasing since she was a little girl. Her sweat and tears are about to pay off.
Okay, can we do the lift grand jeté one more time, please?
In America, where she learned to dance, some said she's too dark, too short, too muscular to ever succeed in this delicate art.
All of you need to go off downstage.
At times, she was discouraged, but she never gave up. Michaela survived much worse in her home country of Sierra Leone, West Africa, before being adopted across the Atlantic. At the age of 3, she was living in an orphanage. Her father murdered by rebels. Her mother had starved to death. How did you survive?
To be honest, I have no idea. If I hadn't been taken to the orphanage, I don't think I would have. My best friend and my mat mate really helped me. You know, she just told me, you know, everything's going to be okay, we're going to get out of here. Even though, of course, some days I didn't believe her. But in the end, we did get out, and now I'm here, so.
Difficult
to
have hope in a situation like that. I mean, when you witnessed your own mom dying in front of you, how did that feel? I mean, what did you go through?
I don't really remember most of it. I was just very confused. It was just so much going on. I had no idea what was going on and why. I didn't realize why it was happening and why the war was there and why my parents were killed. And it was just too much to handle until I got to the States and my mom explained to me what was going on in Sierra Leone.
The mom that adopted you?
Yeah, my adopted mom. It was crazy. And when I found out, I was like, I still didn't understand why there had to be a war, and I thought it was so unnecessary. War, I think, is so unnecessary. You could resolve things in a completely different way.
Do you remember your parents vividly?
I don't remember my mom as much. I do remember my father. I used to, you know, always be around him. I used to go trading with him sometimes, but my mom was always home a lot, so when my father died, it was really, really bad for me.
She says her uncle took her to the orphanage, hoping she'd be adopted and taken to a safer place.
What was life like in that orphanage?
It was pretty terrible when the aunties were around, because they would always call me names and make me feel bad about myself. But when it was just the kids, we would have a wonderful time. We'd all create new games and just play around and imagine, you know, what our lives would be like if we weren't there. You know, we imagined what it was like when we were with our parents, when we were with our, like, you know, our relatives and whatnot, and we're just trying to have a lot of hope.
Michaela says she was made fun of at the orphanage because of her skin condition. Vitiligo is the loss of pigmentation from areas in the skin. She remembers being called the devil's child and treated as the least favorite.
They actually gave you the number 27. What did that mean?
It just means that I didn't get enough food, I didn't get the best clothes, I got the last choice of toys. I just pretty much was, you know, I was in the back and I didn't really care if I died or whatever happened to me. And so when my mom was looking for my sister and my mat mate, she said, oh, I would like to adopt Mabinti. And they're like, which Mabinti? And she was like, Mabinti. And they're like, well, there's two. And there's this other girl who nobody wants because of her vitiligo, because they don't want her growing up and feeling like she's, you know, whatever. And I just think that's absolutely terrible that they would say that to a person who's trying to adopt a kid, you know? And so when we got adopted, I was so surprised that my mom didn't notice my vitiligo, really. She didn't comment about it. She didn't say that it wasn't beautiful, it wasn't, you know, something terrible. And I was very surprised, and it made me realize, you know, she's so wonderful. Maybe I can learn to love her, and maybe she will treat me like a real person.
You witnessed one of the caregivers there getting killed.
Yeah, I did.
And how did you deal with that?
Well, to be honest, she was one of the teachers who only liked me. She was the only person who actually took time to care for me. And when that happened, it was absolutely awful. I don't even remember how to explain how I felt. It was just, to lose an adult that actually cared about you again, it was just, it broke my heart.
What did they do to her? What happened?
Well, she was leaving because she used to teach me at night. And she was pregnant. She was going outside the gate, and I was walking with her and gonna go say bye. And then these 3 rebels come, 2 older one and a younger one, and they see that she's pregnant. And what they used to do is, if it was a boy, they would keep the baby. If it was a girl, they would kill the mother and the baby. And so they cut her stomach, and they saw that it was a girl. So then they were angry, and they cut her arms and legs off and left her and the baby there. And so I was trying to save her, so I went underneath the gate, and the little boy saw, all these older people doing these things, and I guess he wanted to impress them and thought it was funny, so he stabbed me. And so I have actually a scar from it, and it was a blackout after that, but I have no idea how I survived that. It was awful.
But even as hopelessness and despair engulfed her, she found an unlikely source of respite.
And then you saw a picture of a ballerina.
Yeah, I did. I was in the orphanage, and there's a magazine right outside the gate. There was a ballerina on the cover, and I was just so fascinated by this person, by how beautiful she was, how she was wearing such a beautiful costume. It was just so mesmerizing.
And did you even know what ballet was at the time?
I had no idea what ballet was. I thought she was on her tippy toes. I thought a lot of things, especially when I came to the United States. I just assumed that I'd be getting my tiara, my pointe shoes right away, and my tutu, but you actually have to work for that. So, yeah.
Has that picture stayed with you throughout?
It's very fuzzy, the picture, just because it was from so long ago, but just the memory of how I felt will always be with me.
What did it represent? Freedom, hope, what did it represent?
It represented freedom, represented hope, it represented trying to live a little longer. I was so upset in the orphanage. I have no idea how I got through it, but seeing that, it completely saved me.
5 minutes to the show.
Now her story is featured in film,
But very, very, very few succeed.
competing among the best in the world. Next.